Hello, hello, hello everybody, and welcome along to round 5 of the AOR Hype Energy F2 Sprint League. After watching the drivers battle to stay out of the walls at last weekend's Monaco Grand Prix, we're off to the south of France and circuit Paul Ricard for the French Grand Prix, where the walls could hardly be further away. As ever, I am Jacob Hancox, and I'll be commentating on this race for you today, and alongside me in the commentary box, once again after a brief period away, is Jens. How are you doing, Jens?
I'm doing very good, except the lobby has done things that it shouldn't be doing.
What sort of things has it done that it should not be doing?
Return me to the main menu, or return me to the settings screen.
I see.
I can't do anything.
Okay, right. I'll get into the lobby real quick and see what's going on, just so we can actually see what's happening. But we may have had a bit of a false start here. Qualifying does seem to be underway for me. People seem to be doing qualifying, from what I can tell. So, are you not seeing the game screen at all at the moment?
What I'm seeing is the lobby as it would normally stand, with spectate and host options. Worryingly, I can still change the settings, but I can't go into the race itself for some reason.
Huh, okay. That's very, very peculiar indeed. Yes, indeed. You joined the stream and hear technical issues. Yes, that's absolutely correct. Yes, there are some technical issues. I am seeing the game, and I'm seeing a pretty normal qualifying session going on at the moment. So I'm going to plunge on ahead with this one for now. But hopefully, I mean, if you can't get into the game, I assume we'll be able to restart the lobby if there's absolutely no way for you to get into the game. At the moment, it's ERZ who's leading the way. We're already more than halfway around the lap. So I'll just stick on board with the German for the remainder of the lap in his MP Motorsport car. Of course, he is now our new championship leader. After the last race, last time out at the Monaco Grand Prix, he won the feature race and came 5th in the sprint race, and that was enough to move him 2 points, ahead of Heiko in the championship, who didn't score a single point at the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. After having such a dominant 31-point lead in the championship, it all went away from him, and ERZ took that P1 in the championship away, and it looks like he's going to take P1 in the qualifying session away, as no, interestingly enough, so all of a sudden it's shaken out, and it says that Skatey's taken pole position. That was very peculiar. It wasn't updating along the side for me. That indicates that there might indeed be something wrong with the lobby, but it's Skatey, the young Dutchman, who is, for the moment at least, on pole. Any luck getting into the game so far?
No, at all, but since it is fine on your end, I think you are carrying on.
Okay, well, it might be a good idea to message Heiko and see what he thinks real quick. Heiko is the coordinator for this split, just if anyone's wondering, or one of the coordinators. Thompson is the other. But yeah, as it stands, Skatey is on pole position by a very small margin, with ERZ very close behind. Heiko 3rd and Mr. Jasper in 4th, making it 3 Dutchmen in the first 4 positions. Joel in 5th. I'll try desperately not to call him DJ Ole this weekend. Mo in 6th, another good performance from the reserve driver. Cameron B 7th, Sevilla 98M 8th, Thompson 9th, and Iko the Croat rounding out the top 10 here at Circuit Paul Ricard. So now we are just getting in to the race session itself. We will be, of course, we'll have a little bit of time while we wait for the guys to go around on their formation lap. And indeed, yeah, I did notice that's a good point, JSR, in chat, pointing out there that the qualifying timing tower updated ERZ time before he actually crossed the line on my screen, which worryingly indicates that I might be perhaps desynchronized from him or something along those lines. Either way, there's some problems with the lobby, so we may well need to restart the lobby anyway.
No, as it is, Heiko thinks we should carry on, since for all the other guys, as he is in a voice call with them, as it's fun on their end, it would be good to just carry on, since we don't want any other things happening, as I heard there was also some issues last week.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm sorry, once again, you're not actually going to be able to join us to watch the race. I assume the delay on the stream will be too much for you to provide any effective commentary again. As ever, you're welcome to. Well, I know. As ever, you're welcome to give your thoughts, a little delayed perhaps, but to give your thoughts nevertheless on the game itself. Yeah, maybe you could, if anyone has any questions in chat or whatever, you could maybe sing those out to me if I'm not paying any attention, if the racing's just that exciting. But yeah, I'm afraid that's all I can really think of at the moment, so I'm sorry about that. Very sorry. I can't believe it's happened again. Interestingly, going to quickly move on to a slightly happier topic. Well, happier, not necessarily happier exactly, but only 4 of the drivers are starting on the soft tyres on my screen. Now, I don't know if that's the truth or not. I believe you have to start on the tyres that you qualified on. So, drivers in the top 10 opting to run the contra strategy, but I doubt the likes of Heiko actually qualified on those hard tyres, although maybe I'm mistaken, but it's interesting that what would usually be considered the contra strategy of running the harder tyres first here in Formula 2 actually seems to be the way the guys are planning on doing it at the moment. It seems to be what most of the drivers are preferring here. As they go around the formation, that looks like Joel is having some connection issues, but that could just be that he's in the pause menu, that little X, symbolising that his car is currently being operated by an AI rather than himself. In fact, all of the drivers have that on my screen, I'm now noticing. That's a little bit concerning. Hopefully that's just a visual error, and that doesn't indicate that there's actually any more problem with the lobby than we have already seen. But we'll have to wait and see, I'm afraid. SLI, our most recent race winner, currently holding the race-winning belt, I suppose, after winning the sprint race last time out in Monaco, leading from the reverse grid pole all the way to the finish line. No mistakes at all from the Danish driver in that race. It was a great performance. Slightly less good performance from him in this qualifying session, though, starting down in 12th position out of the 16 runners we have today. Tudor, a driver we have not yet seen, a new driver in the league. Currently driving for MP Motorsport today. I believe he is another reserve driver, so he's not a permanent MP Motorsport driver, but I'm not certain about that. Oh, a couple of cars, interestingly, not moving on my screen there. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Some of the cars... Oh, okay, well, looks like they've all made it to the grid somehow. I'll take the start and see what they do, if the lights ever indeed come on. Doesn't look like they're going to. Oh, no, there we go. Okay, the lights are indeed coming on now. So here at the circuit for Ricard, we are about to get underway. And there it is, and we're underway, and it's the timing tower doesn't know what to do, but it looks like an excellent start for KBL. The cars are jittering all over the place. Cars are changing into other cars as I look at them. I'm not sure this is going to be a very successful stream unless we have a remade lobby here, because this is a nightmare, to be honest. Some cars ghosting in the background. It's a shame because KBL absolutely got a rocket start from the grid there. It seems to think that Tudor 900 is the car in the lead. I don't believe that's the truth at all. Salty driving slowly down towards the back. Another car inside of another car there. All ghosted. Issues throughout the field here. If it's perhaps the drivers aren't having these issues. Ico has left the session. So perhaps that does mean we're going to be remaking the stream. We'll have to wait and see. Timing tower starting to sort itself out a little bit now. That seems to be the correct order to me. KBL in the lead with Heiko just behind him in the dams. Skatey had a poor start from pole position down to 3rd, though I couldn't see it terribly well off of the start line itself, but he did indeed bog down a little bit. KBL, in contrast, had an excellent start. Joel lagging around a little bit here. Again, that could just be on my end, perhaps. But now, yeah, the order has seemed to have sorted itself out, so that's good news at least, even if the cars are rather jittery here. And KBL has a real commanding lead already over Heiko. 2.2 seconds, and I have no reason to believe that that isn't correct, that 2.4 second lead, 2.5 second lead isn't genuine. But you can never be too sure in conditions like these. Ico, has he rejoined the session? No, he's still ghosted, but he doesn't seem to have dropped all the way to the back of the field just yet. SLI up 1 position from where he started, but that's likely taking that position away from Ico, who did indeed leave the session. Thompson and Richie B actually went side by side through the final corner there. It looks like Richie B's the one who's got a much better run out of the final corner, so he's really got the better of it there, as the cars are resorting themselves out as they go across the line. I think we're just going to have to ignore the timing tower a little bit here. Yellow flags in Sector 3, don't know what that's for, but ooh, and there's Richie B putting a move on Mo as Mo goes deep into turn 1. Good stuff from the Dutchman in the ART. It says he's currently in 11th position. That is not correct. I believe he has moved himself up into, what is that, 7th position? I think he is currently in the ART. So we'll have to wait and see once the timing tower has sorted itself out. Ooh, this is going to be really tough to commentate on, I can tell you that one. Cameron B doing alright at the moment, 7th position for him, although he picks up a 5-second penalty there for corner cutting. I did not see it at all. Gained 1 place. Not entirely sure that that's a correct decision from the stewards. I'm not convinced this is working either, JSR, but I'm going to have to keep pressing on with it until I'm told otherwise, I think. Cars inside of each other once again. Mr. Jasper and Joel going through each other up the front. Richie B actually just drives clean through Cameron B. These guys together on track once again, the two B-boys. Cameron B, by the way, currently sitting in 7th according to the timing tower. That's a very tentative description of being 7th. Lobby being remade. Okay. That is music to my ears, Ico. Thank you very much. Yeah, the lobby is indeed being remade, so I can stop trying to make sense of this absolute mess. We can go to a little break, perhaps. I'll just get us out of this game screen. But yeah, that was an interesting one. I'm rather glad the lobby is being remade, not least because it means that Jens will be able to actually join me for the race itself, and also that the lobby will hopefully make a little bit more sense than that one did. It's a shame for the likes of Skatey and ELZ KBL and Heiko as well, who had good qualifyings, and ELZ KBL particularly had a great start, I think, assuming that was real. He had a great start in that race, so it's a bit of a shame for him, but he'll just have to reset his mind. All the drivers will have to just reset their mindset entirely and be ready to go again. I don't know if we're going to be remaking the grid as it was. I suspect we won't, because that causes issues with the sprint race grids. So I think we're probably going to have to run qualifying again. So apologies for the delay, everybody. While we get back into the lobby, I'm just going to go to a little break here, give you guys some music to listen to while we sort things out. Bear with us. Alright, welcome back everybody. We are once again back into the lobby here, back at the circuit pool Ricard. We have set a custom grid. There is a stream today. Sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues, so we had to remake the lobby, but we are back now. And as I said, we'll have a custom grid as the qualifying session seems to have basically run without error in that previous lobby. Jens left the session?
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Oh no, okay.
Well, we tried.
Well, I guess we're back to this again. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Alright, here they are for the formation map, though, here in Circuit Pool Ricard. So, let's just check the tyres that everyone's running on. Have they picked the same tyres as last time? If I can find out how to show tyres. There we go. They haven't quite picked the same tyres as last time. Only 3 drivers going for the soft tyres to start with this time round. The rest all starting on the hard tyres. So it really does seem like that's probably going to be the best decision. It definitely is the decision that most of the drivers are making around here. And this is, of course, the very same starting grid that we saw for the previous race. As I was just mentioning before I cut myself off, the qualifying session did run without issue. So Skatey, the Dutchman, will be starting on pole. I say the Dutchman, one of many Dutchmen will be starting on pole. ERZ KBL, the championship leader in second, and his main championship rival at the moment, Heiko, in third in the dams. Mr. Jasper will be fourth. Good performance from him in qualifying. And Joel up in fifth as well. He scored twice last time out at Monaco with a 5th place and a 3rd place, getting a podium in the second race, of course. He'll be very happy with those results, and he'll be looking to push on here. And 5th place on the grid in the feature race is a good way to do that. Mo, who I believe is still a reserve driver, though he is currently driving in the Trident. He is in 6th at the moment. Yep, he'll be starting from 6th, of course. Cameron B starting from 7th after finishing 7th in both races last time out at the Monaco Grand Prix. So that's nothing if not consistent, can we say, about Cameron B. Sevilla 98M with a pretty good qualifying by his standards. Upper midfield, well, middle midfield, I should say. In the Uni Virtuosi there, the Spaniard will be looking to push on. Thompson a little bit disappointed with that, I'd imagine, down in 9th position. He's starting on the soft tyres, though, so he'll look to gain some positions very early on in the race, and we'll see how quick he is off the line with those. Iko down in 10th again. Probably won't be too happy about that. He showed a lot of pace in the opening round at Bahrain, but since then seems to have dropped off a little bit. Has the Croatian driver. He's hoping for a return to form. Richie B in 11th. Again, not really where Richie wants to be. He's been had spotty attendance so far this season, so he hasn't been able to come to all of the races, and therefore his points tally is a little lower than his pace would indicate. And starting from the back of the grid will be Tudor in the MP Motorsport car, the new driver to the league. He is actually a full-time driver for the MP Motorsport team. He is not a reserve driver, as I may have said earlier. A Romanian driver, and he will be starting from the very back of the grid today, behind SLI, Biolite, Maku, and Salty, who are the remainder of the drivers that I did not read out on that formation lap. Here we go then, here come the lights. 3 lights on, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we are underway here at the Circuit Pool Ricard, and it looks like a much better start this time for Skatey. ERZ KBL not able to challenge him, and actually looks like Heiko might be able to stick a move up the inside of the MP Motorsport driver into turn 1 if he's not careful, and it is Heiko up the inside. They're still side by side here. Jump on board here with ERZ KBL. Heiko holding it around the outside of turn 2. A little bit of a freeze lag there, but we're back into it now, and they're still side by side down towards the first major braking zone after turn 1. Who will there be? Oh, it's Heiko around the outside, and they're still side by side. Surely Heiko has got the position now, and he has. Good move from the Dutchman to make it a Dutch 1-2 at the moment, and Skatey leading away imperiously up at the front at the moment. Meanwhile, behind them, Mr. Jasper and Joel going side by side, and it's Mr. Jasper that gets the upper hand there. Joel was looking to move up a position from 5th where he started on the grid, but now he's actually in trouble as he's been forced to run wide, and Mo will be up his inside here at the end of the Mistral straight into the chicane. Looks like ERZ KBL's going for another move back on Heiko there, and he's up the inside. Surely they're still side by side once again, just about keeping his nose in there is Heiko. Will ERZ KBL be able to force him out? No, and it looks like Heiko and the Dams has got the better traction, but all of this is excellent news for Skatey on those soft tyres, who is absolutely breezing away up at the front. He's so far away as they head into Senior now, and this is a real test of bravery around the outside for ERZ KBL, but he looks like he's held it really well. Wow, what a move from the German as he reclaims second position after a whole lap of battling with Heiko, and now Heiko might find himself in a little bit of trouble. Mr. Jasper gets out of it there, goes over the curb because there was going to be contact if he stuck his nose in there any more than he was about to. Sensible driving then from the Campos driver to be back down in 4th and settle for that at the moment. Joel in 5th, didn't lose out to Mo in the end in the Trident. And actually, after all that battling, the top 8 have remained exactly as they were off the start. Oh no, someone's hit Mo. He's been hit in the back by Cameron B, I think. He was the driver immediately behind Mo there. And there's been contact. Mo's gone round in the final corner. Cameron's dropped a couple of positions as well. And it's benefited Tudor incredibly well in the MP Motorsport car. He's already up into 7th after starting from 16th and last on this grid. So great stuff from the new Romanian driver in the lead with that bright pink helmet of his in the Mahavir Ranganathan car. Cameron B down into 8th after his contact with Mo. Has he sustained any front wing damage? He didn't dive into the pits, so he's probably okay. Severe actually dropped all the way to the back as well, so he must have been involved in that incident. I didn't quite see how. Richie B taking the position away from Maku, and now looks like Thompson's trying to take the position away as well. He's had a poor opening lap. I think he was involved in that final corner incident as well. So, not good news for the Prema driver here, the sole Prema driver in the race today. Currently sitting down in 11th position and on the soft tyres. He will not be happy with the start he's had to this race. Meanwhile, looks like Heiko's losing yet another position. This time, it's a Mr. Jasper, another Dutchman who goes up his inside in the Campos. Mr. Jasper, once again, seemed to cut over that corner as we saw the bollard go flying. But he doesn't seem to have been told to give the position back in the Campos, so he's holding on to it for now. Good move from him, and he's on the soft tyres, so it's something he absolutely needed to do. You can see how much faster Heiko was through Senior there, and he had to actually back out of it. Ran very wide, went straight through the brake marker board there, the 150-meter board. Bit of a nervy moment there for Heiko, but he's settled down okay. Thankfully, that particular braking board isn't quite as important as some of the other ones around this track, so the drivers won't be too unhappy that Heiko has blasted straight through it. Iko with a good start in the other dams, up into 6th position at the moment, having started down in 10th. So good stuff from him on the opening couple of laps, but it's really Tudor that's the star of the show so far, up 9 positions from where he started, the new boy in the league, and that's a real way to show that you've arrived here in the AOR Hype Energy F2 Sprint League, is just by going up 9 positions in the first couple of laps of the race. What a great performance so far. Not such a good performance so far for BioLite, currently sitting 40 seconds away at the bottom of the field. He must have, in fact he did come into the pits on the at the end of the opening lap. He's gone onto another set of hard tyres, but he will not be able to run these to the end. He'll have to make another pit stop after that, because if you pit before the end of lap 3, it does not count as your mandatory pit stop, and you will be forced to pit again. You have to run each set of tyres for at least 3 laps here in the F2 rule set. Richie B looking close behind Mo at the moment as they head on to the Mistral Straight. He will have DRS available to him this lap, so it's going to be pretty close as they head down towards the chicane. It's a pretty major braking zone. Good opportunity for an overtake here for the ART driver. Will he be able to breeze past the outside? No, he doesn't quite get alongside before the braking zone, but Mo goes defensive anyway, preventing a dive bomb from occurring. But Richie B looks like he's been able to get the better run as a result of it, but oh, he has to steer out of it there. Just getting a bit of oversteer in the traction zone, but they're still side by side. Up towards Senior now. It's going to be really brave if Richie B sticks it up the inside, and he doesn't. He just calmly backs out of it there. Knew that it was probably going to end badly if he went for that move, but meanwhile Mr. Jasper all over the back of the LZKBL, and look at the gap Skatey has in his Trident out at the front at the moment. 6.3, 6.2 seconds. Of course, he's on those soft tyres, but we've seen Mr. Jasper on those soft tyres get stuck behind Heiko for a little bit, and now stuck behind ERZ KBL as well. So Skatey doing a really good job, and Thompson indeed, he's been going backwards on his set of soft tyres. So will this race come back to the hard tyre runners as we get towards the end of the race, or is Skatey just showing such dominant pace here that he is going to be leading for the remainder of the race? We'll have to wait and see. Thompson going side by side with Mo here. Looks like Thompson's going to make the move, and actually I'm going to jump up to the front here because ERZ KBL and Mr. Jasper side by side. Mr. Jasper on those soft tyres desperately needs to get chasing down Skatey up ahead if he's got any hope of winning this race, and he does move up the inside and get past ERZ KBL, the German, down into 3rd, but he won't be too unhappy about that because he'll see that the Campos driver who has just overtaken him is of course on those red-walled soft tyres, so ERZ KBL won't be feeling too bad about that one at the moment, considering he knows that he's in it for the long haul here. Having said that, he is slipstreaming Mr. Jasper back down the Mistral Straight here. Will he go for a bit of a dive bomb up the inside? Nope. Thinks better of it. Very sensible there. And Tudor's actually all over the back of Iko. Will we see him up the inside? No, we will not. but Tudor is really having a great start to this race so far, and it's not looking like slowing down anytime soon. It wasn't just that he had great racecraft on the opening lap of the race, he now seems to have the pace to be able to keep up with at least the likes of Ico up ahead, and he's on the hard tyres, just like the Dams driver ahead of him, so that he doesn't have a tyre advantage to explain the fact that he's all over the back of the Dams at the moment. Meanwhile, back up towards the front, it's 7.2 seconds now. Sevilla 98M picks up a 3-second time penalty in the sole Univirtuosi car here today. Frico not making it to his home Grand Prix, unfortunately, in the other Univirtuosi. So that is a shame indeed. ELZ-KBL close behind Mr. Jasper though, and maybe the soft tyres have had it here, because it looks like ELZ-KBL's got a much better exit, and he's got the DRS open now. Up towards turn 1 they go. It will be the German with the inside line in the MP Motorsport car, and he does move back ahead of Mr. Jasper. So Mr. Jasper was able to get past him, but it only lasted for one lap, or did it? Gets the cutback through turn 2, much better run down towards turn 3, heavy braking zone now, gets the inside line, gets it, and no, he gives a bit of room there to ELZ-KBL, doesn't steal the apex of turn 4 away, but in the end he didn't need to, as he retains his second position for now, but that's just giving even more time to Skatey up ahead. Maku into the pits. He was on the hard tyres, I do believe. Yeah, he's strapping on a set of the soft tyres, I think. I doubt he's going to be able to go 10 laps on those tyres towards the end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, action never stops up at the front here as ELZ-KBL so close to the back of Mr. Jasper ahead of him at the moment. Mr. Jasper all over the curbs there, but he seems to have got his traction down pretty well nevertheless. Looks like Ico and Tudor have both gone past Joel behind. Joel might have run deep into the chicane there, and that might explain it. We'll go take a look, see what's happened there. Joel a little bit behind them now, and Tudor is so close to the Croatian driver ahead of him right now. Will he stick it up the inside here into turn 11? No, and he actually gets a major lockup on the inside front, but then again, so does Ico. Oh, when Ico leaves the door open, it's so inviting, but Tudor, he knows if he sticks his nose in there, it's probably all going to go wrong, and he thinks very sensibly that he is not going to enter into what was a gap that was always going to close on him. Richie B and Mo battling once again, and Richie B's off track. Something's gone wrong for him in turn 12 there, but he's regained the car pretty well, hasn't lost too much time in the ART. But you can see his tyres are a little bit hot there as he's battling the car. Not sure if there was contact between him and Mo or someone else, but not good news for Richie B in the ART. Here we go then, Tudor finally looks like he's going to be able to make a move on Ico now. Round the outside into turn 1. That will not necessarily get you the position immediately, but you get so much better run through turn 2 and down towards turn 3. You can see how much time he's already gaining on Ico. There's no DRS here, that's just pure traction advantage that the MP Motorsport car has over the Dams up the inside into turn 3, but no, Ico battles back. Keeps hold of the position for now. Into turn 5 they go. It's so tight through here, and it looks like it is Tudor that's taken the position away. Yes, he has. Can he make sure now that he gets a good enough run onto the Mistral straight? He compromises the line a little bit through that turn 7 left-hander there, so he might not have quite so good of a run as he would desire onto the Mistral straight. Will we see Ico blasting past him? Yes, we will. Very easy move there for the Dams driver. Tudor tries to fight it back around the outside. Almost keeps his nose in there, but Ico runs to the edge of the track, making sure there was no space for that orange and white car on his outside there. But still, this fight is not done yet. They're going to be continuing to battle tooth and nail for this position by the look of things. Up towards the front, 8.8 seconds it is now for Skatey. Almost 9 seconds lead in F2. That is an astounding margin that Skatey has been able to build on the rest of the field. But it does not necessarily mean that he's going to win this race. As I have mentioned earlier, he is, of course, on those soft tyres, as is Mr. Jasper in second. So, will we see Skatey coming into the pits anytime soon? And if he does, will he be struggling on very old hard tyres towards the end of the race? Will we see those starting on the hard tyres as Thompson dives into the pits? He's had enough of his soft tyres. Richie B diving into the pits as well. Might have some front wing damage after that incident we saw, though it didn't look like his nose was anywhere near a wall or anything like that, so maybe he's just strapping on a set of soft tyres, copying what Maku did in the Carlin earlier on in the race. But will the hard tyre to soft tyre strategy pay dividends towards the end, and will we see that 9-second gap be eaten up by the likes of ERZ, KBL and Heiko, who you can tell now are faster than Mr. Jasper. If they could just get past him, they would breeze away, I'm sure of it, as the hard tyres really are the tyres to be on at the moment. Those who on those 6-lap-old soft tyres are struggling, and Iko's had a problem. He's gone round, he probably just lost it, because this is about where you start to lay down the throttle here down towards turn 7, and it's a very slippery traction zone indeed. Iko going round, loses out on several positions there. KBL couldn't get past Mr. Jasper on this lap either, and Heiko hasn't really been looking like making a move on the German driver since the opening couple of laps. He's just been sitting there in 4th position, but you get the sense that he feels like he could be going faster than this. Now, will Skatey head onto the pits into the pits at the end of this lap? Tudor up in 5th position at the moment. Great performance from him. I'm going to keep mentioning it because it really is something. 8.6 seconds of a gap though between him and Heiko ahead. So really we are seeing a tale of 3 races here, maybe 4 even. Skatey in a world of his own up here at the front as he does not dive into the pit lane, so he's going to be going for at least another lap on those soft tyres. Same can be said for Mr. Jasper. He's staying out as well as he runs very wide through the final corner. That could compromise him. Here comes the LZKBL up behind him now. He'll have to take the inside line into turn 1, but if he gets the switchback, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, he could just try and force it all the way around the outside if he gets his car alongside it well enough, and he does, and he's able to take the apex as well, because he breaks that much later than Mr. Jasper. Good move by ERZKBL to move himself up into 2nd position, and now he can hope to start chasing down Skatey on those 7-lap-old soft tyres, who's probably struggling a little bit, although he's showing no signs of it really in the Trident at the moment. Heiko will have seen ERZKBL getting past Mr. Jasper and will be feeling the need to do the same thing to the Dutchman ahead of him if he is to hope to keep ERZKBL in touching distance at the moment. And of course, these are the top 2 in the championship, so Heiko really needs to make sure that if ERZKBL is able to finish ahead of him, it's only by 1 position or so, as to minimise the point advantage that ERZKBL is able to build from each individual race, as ERZKBL actually running a little bit wide through the chicane there. Will Mr. Jasper be able to make a move on him? It looks like the German driver is thinking about going defensive, but no, he cuts back across to the racing line before turn 10, and he is dandy there in 2nd position. No trouble from the Campos driver behind at the moment. Ooh, speaking of trouble for the Campos driver behind, though, here comes Heiko. Oh, it's so tempting. That particular corner, it's so tough not to stick your nose up the inside of turn 11 there. It just tightens a little bit on the exit, and it never feels like the right thing to do, but it always looks like the right thing to do. And some of the drivers, I'm sure, will have been trying to think about making a move there at least. And once again, Heiko looks like he's going to make a move on a very unorthodox part of the track here through turn 14, around the outside of turn 15. This will probably get him the better run down the pit straight, but no, it looks like Mr. Jasper's got the better traction actually, but he still has DRS as well, so this could be a tough one for Heiko. Will he be able to move past the orange car ahead of him? He will have the inside line for turn 1. Can he brake later? Yes, he can. Up the inside, and they bang wheels a little bit there, forcing Mr. Jasper wide. That's probably good news for Heiko that they banged wheels, as Mr. Jasper actually picks up a 3-second time penalty as well for running over the curbing in turn 2. Cameron B's come into the pits. He's getting rid of his hard tyres, putting on a set of softs instead. He was down in about 7th position before heading into the pits there. Maybe he was in 7th position, I'm pretty sure, before he headed into the pits. Tudor is actually catching up to the back of these guys now on these hard tyres. That gap was 8-point-something seconds. It is now 7.1 seconds. So he's gained at least a second on the cars ahead. But of course, they have been battling pretty hard, so that might at least explain parts of it. ERZKBL is closing down Skatey, but only ever so slightly. So Skatey really isn't struggling that much on these soft tyres at the moment. Maybe the guys who pitted onto the soft tyres early can just run to the end of the race here. They seem resilient as anything here at circuit Paul Ricard, really not wearing that much at all. So the guys on the hard tyres will probably be thinking about coming onto the softs, maybe even before Skatey thinks about coming onto the hards, because the softs just seem like the tyre to be on. So I can't really explain why so many drivers decided to start on the hard tyres for this race. Very interesting decision indeed. Of course, it could be explained after they come into the pits whether they have a massive spurt of pace, but we haven't really been seeing that from the likes of Richie B. He's not closed up to the back of Thompson hardly at all. We'll see what Cameron B is able to do from 12th position, whether he catches up to Salty and Severe quicker than we would otherwise be expecting. Salty, by the way, quick shout out to him. He's having a much better race than usual in the Sauber Junior team by Charoux's car, down in 11th position at the moment, not currently on track to score a point, as he has a bit of a moment there. but he has kept it clean and pretty tidy apart from that little moment I just saw there. We've not seen him facing the wrong way or anything like that. He's kept his nose clean. So a good drive from Salty so far, better than we've been seeing from him in the last few rounds. So that's good news to see that. Meanwhile, out at the front, Skatey still not into the pits. In fact, he's at the middle of the lap, so of course he wouldn't be into the pits at the moment. And he is losing a bit more time now to ERZ-KBL. 9 seconds is the gap between them. But actually, that just went up from about 8.8 seconds to 9 seconds there. So I'm really not seeing Skatey struggling to win this race at all. It looks like he's just going to be able to win this race by a very comfortable margin indeed. But of course, I could be very wrong. We will have to wait and see. He did have the pace for pole position, but it was close between him and ERZ-KBL. Richie B set in the fastest lap of the race. Cameron B actually closed up to Salty up ahead by about 3.2 seconds on his outlap there. Or at least since I last checked the time between them. So maybe pitting onto the soft tyres now will give you a massive advantage on everyone else who's still on the older soft tyres or on the hard tyres. But being on the old hard tyres doesn't seem to be hardly any better than being on the old soft tyres. No one battling really out there on track at the moment. Mr. Jasper just about keeping within DRS range of Heiko up ahead, but he's sort of fluctuating in and out of that magical 1 second mark, showing that he's not really losing that much performance in his soft tyres either. He lost enough performance that he couldn't stop ERZ-KBL and Heiko from getting past him, but he's not really losing. He's keeping the back of Heiko very much in sight at the moment in the Campos, and Tudor still driving away from Joel behind him and getting closer and closer to the top 4 runners here. So if he pits on to the soft tyres slightly earlier than some of the other drivers, he could get a major undercut and maybe look to do something towards the end of the race. He's not elected to go into the pits at the end of this lap though, and these guys really are just waiting and waiting to pit here, hardly any of them blinking. And it's strange because some of the drivers who did come into the pits, like Richie B and Maku, came in so much earlier than I was expecting, and these guys are going in so much later than I would be expecting now. Cameron B all over the back of Salty at the moment in the second Campos car. Has a better run through the final corner despite running over the curbing, and it looks like he's going to be breezing past that Sauber Junior team by Charoux's car as he heads up towards turn 1 now. He will be looking to close down Sevilla 98M as soon as he possibly can. Yellow flags in Sector 2. Don't know exactly what that's about. In fact, ERZ-KBL's taken a chunk out of Skatey's lead, so maybe Skatey has had a bit of an issue because he was in Sector 2 when that flag came out there. So I think Skatey might have run a little bit deeper, maybe had to skip the chicane altogether or something like that. He's lost a lot of time to ERZ-KBL behind, so this could suddenly make a race of it. 3-second mistake there from Skatey. Will we see that coming back to haunt him towards the end of the race? Are the soft tyres just getting a little bit too hot to handle now? For Skatey, as ERZ-KBL is still taking chunks out of his lead. They've hit the cliff. When the tyres hit the cliff here in F2, they really hit the cliff. And you can see that in what's happening to Skatey now. For so long, the gap was staying so constant between ERZ-KBL and Skatey. But now, every time that timing tower updates, it's a 10th or maybe even 2/10. BioLite picking up a 5-second penalty. He's into the pits in the second ART. ERZ-KBL, look how much he's closing Skatey down. And has Skatey come into the pits? No, he has not. He stayed out. Why on earth are they staying out this long? Is there a chance of rain? It is raining. I'm seeing some raindrops here. That is why they're staying out so long on these tyres, but the rain's come so late. Will it come in time for Skatey? He's struggling so much on those soft tyres now. Has ERZ-KBL got the better of him here? This is why they all started on the hard tyres, or almost all of them started on the hard tyres. They were waiting for the rain to come. They knew it would come towards the end of the session. And Heiko close behind ERZ-KBL as well. He'll be rubbing his hands with glee just like the German up ahead of him as they see that gap to Skatey coming down in the bucket load now. 3.8 seconds between ERZ-KBL in second and Skatey up in third. Mr. Jasper dropping away in fourth. Tudor starting to close him down. The gap is almost smaller between him and Mr. Jasper than it is between him and Joel. So great stuff from the driver who started at the back of the grid. ERZ-KBL still getting closer, but Skatey seems to have stemmed the tide there a little bit, as you hear someone going absolutely mad in their car outside my window. Sorry about that one. Cameron B making a move on Sevilla, down for 10th position. But I'm just going to stick on board with Skatey, see how much he's struggling now. The track getting more and more slippery will not be helping those soft tyres, although the rain might be cooling them down a little bit if it's overheating issues that Skatey is having in this Trident. But I imagine it's just the amount of wear he's getting on those soft tyres is getting too much to handle. ERZ-KBL still closer Surely they're going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Great point from JSR in chat. There is Skatey has another major moment on the exit of turn 12. But because of the 3-lap rule, they have to run 3 laps on every set of tyre if the race stays dry. And no, Skatey stays out. That means he is going to have to strap on a set of intermediate tyres before the end of the race or risk disqualification. And now ELZKBL is getting closer and closer. He doesn't go into the pits either. Mr. Jasper does. What will he do? This could be crucial for the Campos driver. If he straps on a set of hard tyres, he could just win the race off of it. No, it looks like they've got wet tyres waiting for him. The wet tyres will go onto the car there. Of course, I think there's just wet tyres, not intermediate tyres. Some other drivers are coming into the pits as well. What will these drivers go for? Yes, wet tyres as well. So, these guys are thinking that they have to run the wet tyres for 3 laps. I don't think that's the case. I think if you run the wet tyres at all during the race, then you are exempted from the 3-lap rule. But if you go from dry tyres to another set of dry tyres, you have to have done it sooner than this point in the race. And now look at ELZKBL, so close behind Skatey. He's so much quicker now than the Trident on those soft tyres is the MP Motorsport car. You can see the reflection of the cars down the Mistral straight. That's how wet it's getting out here at the moment. What are they going to do as Skatey runs deep? ELZKBL alongside. Is that a puncture? A front left puncture for Skatey? Yes, it is. Look at that. The tyre flailing around on the rim. And it's all gone wrong for the Dutchman. ELZKBL had a bit of a moment, though. And he's lost back out to Skatey. Is that not a puncture? Yes, it is. How is Skatey driving that fast with a puncture? What is going on? A front left puncture for the Trident. But the wet conditions seemingly making it less of an issue than it would otherwise be. ELZKBL finally getting past him. But Skatey's doing an excellent job, considering the fact that he has a puncture, to stay that close to the cars ahead at the moment. What on else is going on? A lot of track limits going on around here. A lot of penalties being picked up. I've not been keeping track of those anywhere near as well as I should have done. As ELZKBL running a bit wide through turn 12. Heiko almost saw the door opening for the lead of the race there. But surely they're going to have to dive into the pits now. Is it time for wet tyres? ELZKBL's pitting. Heiko thinks about it and he goes into the pits as well. What will Skatey do? He's got a puncture, so of course he's going to head into the pits. And ELZKBL, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He has bottled it from the race lead. No! Skatey as well. What is going on? He couldn't brake quick enough because of the puncture to his front left. I'm sure that explains why he went too fast. Joel heading into the pits. Iko surely heading into the pits as well. They're all going to head into the pits. Could this be a masterstroke for Tudor in the MP Motorsport car? He's been on the wets for a whole lap now. Have they been the faster tyre to be on? I'm not sure. Will we see him undercutting all of these drivers who have come into the pits? Let's wait and see. Looks like ELZKBL, his teammate, is going to rejoin in the lead, but he has that 5-second stop-go penalty, so the race is all but Heiko's at the moment. He just has to keep it on the island, but does he know that? Does he know that ELZKBL has that penalty to his name? Tudor up to 4th position. DRS has finally been disabled. It's time for the wet tyres now. Cameron B, he'll be sticking on those softs to the end of the race, though, so he'll be hoping that the track doesn't get too wet for him to handle. Up to 5th position after... And Skatey's on hards. Skatey's on hard tyres. Oh no, I think that's not the right decision. I think he's going to get disqualified after he ends this race if he doesn't put on a set of mediums. I think. I'm not sure. This is a really confusing part of the rules, and you can see how slow Skatey is going. It was all looking so good for Skatey. He had a 9-second lead at the front of the race, and now he's on hard tyres when it's a wet tyre day, and he might even be disqualified from the race itself. ELZKBL leading the way. Heiko dropping back a bit from the German driver. I said all he has to do is keep it on the island, as Thompson looks like he's gone round on those hard tyres. Yes, he has, losing out on the dry tyres, on the slick, wet track. Nothing he can do about that at this point, though. Mr. Jasper going side by side with Iko. And he tried to brake on the curbing, and you cannot do that in the wet conditions. A massive lock-up from the Campos driver, and Iko gets 7th position. Fresher wet tyres for him as well, but that's hardly going to make a difference at this point. Tudor so close behind Skatey. There's the move for the bottom step of the podium in his very first race in the F2 Sprint League. It's Tudor, the Romanian driver, who's up into 3rd. I don't think he has any penalties, though I don't know that for certain. He's going to go just drive to the line now. I don't think he's got any hope of catching up to ELZKBL and Heiko up ahead. There's so much of a gap between him and Heiko, 8.4 seconds as it stands. But he would be chuffed with 3rd position after starting 16th in this race. Whew. SLI going past Thompson as well. The Prema car on those hard tyres has not made the right decision at the end of the day, it was a gamble to pit that early onto the hard tyres and then not to come onto the wet tyres, and it nearly paid off. But as we're on to the final lap of the race now, it is wet tyre conditions well and truly, as you can see here in Paul Ricard. Cameron B losing a position now. He's on his softs, of course. Joel going past him. Up into 5th position. Another solid race from the Serbian driver. Cameron B. Will he be able to hold on to 6th position, or will he lose out to Iko as well? Maku at the back of the field, accepting Biolite, who's at the very back of the field. Maku down in 15th, picking up a 3-second time penalty. Salty down there. Richie B down in 14th. A disappointing race for both of the ART cars, as Biolite is in the pits for what must be at least the 3rd time this race. Heiko now close behind ERZKBL, but not close enough to think about making a move. So it looks like it is going to be the German driver who wins over the line, but it's going to be Heiko that takes the position away on penalties, I'm pretty sure. Joel and Skatey now. Joel taking the position away from Skatey on those hard tyres. Will he try and fight back? No, he will not. He sensibly sees the position to the lead Sauber Junior team driver, and Iko does get past Cameron B as well. Down into the final sector of the race. Cameron B actually, has he gone round? Has he got a puncture? What's happened to him? No, it's just so tough for him now. And it was, oh, it's so close. Half a lap left to go, and it's all going wrong for Cameron B. He's lost reverse grid pole, which Mo is currently sitting on there in the Trident, the reserve driver. He'll be pretty happy with that, I'm sure, as we go into the second race, the sprint race. But here in the feature race, into the final corner goes ERZKBL, the German driver, in the MP Motorsport car, up towards the line. He will cross the line in first, but it will be Heiko that takes the race win, and only just, because he had penalties of his own, but he just stays in touch well enough. 0.3 of a second between them at the line, but it's Heiko that takes his 4th win of the season. Tudor in 3rd position in his very first race, goes from 16th on the grid to the podium. What a performance from the Romanian. Joel will come across the line in 4th position. Iko in 5th. Side by side behind them is Mr. Jasper holding on, trying to keep the head of Mo, and he does so, but he actually, because of the 5-second time penalty for Mo, no, penalties all over the place, not sure what's going on, and it's Mr. Jasper who has most of them in the end. SLI up to 6th after crossing the line in 10th, because he kept his nose clean just like we saw in Monaco, so that's a good performance for the Arden boy. Skatey will be the one on reverse grid pole on those hard tyres. He's not been disqualified from the race, so I can only assume that the wet conditions exempt him from that particular rule. Or maybe it's only the first 3 laps of the race. Maybe you can pit as late into the race as you want. I'm not entirely sure about it, I must confess. Mr. Jasper rounding out the points after a promising start to the race. Didn't go well in the end for the guys that started on the soft tyres. Skatey in 8th, Mr. Jasper in 10th, and Thompson down in 12th. But a great performance for Heiko, ERZKBL, and especially Tudor to take 3rd. Just waiting now for Maku to get across the line in the Carlin. Here he comes, taking 15th position in this race, an all too familiar sight for the Polish driver. But here in Le Castellet, circuit Paul Ricard, it is Heiko that takes the race win. His 4th race win of the season, and of course that does temporarily move him back up into 1st place in the championship, though he only got a few points over and above ERZKBL, but it is enough to move him slightly ahead at the moment, but we'll see after the sprint race what's going to happen. And Tudor, with the pace he showed today, he could be a real threat going into that sprint race as well. And of course Skatey starting on reverse grid pole, I forgot about that, he was basically on track to win this race by a country mile before it all went wrong for him. So unless something goes equally wrong for him in the sprint race, which is harder to do because there's no mandatory pit stop in that race, surely Skatey's in the pound seat to win that one. Now Jens, are you still here?
Yes, I am very much still here.
Okay, so do you have any comments to pass about that particular race?
Yes, just what a race with it turning to the wet conditions at the end there, and Skatey getting that reverse grid pole, and of course Heiko driving so well to get that win in the end. And I can help you out a bit there with the rules. I looked a bit up on it during the race. You can pit as late as you want in the race. It is only the first 3 laps that exempt you or have you in the rule.
I see. Okay, that does clear it up a bit. That was that explains why not everyone came into the end of the into the pits at the end of lap 12 as I was expecting. So that's okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I also looked a bit on the tires for this race, and we have the softs, hard, and the full wets, so no intermediates or medium tires.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, only a choice of 2 dry weather compounds for the guys here in the F2 League. So it looks like Skatey is the one in control of this race. He got the fastest lap in the last race as well, so he claimed an extra 2 points for that. He's currently sitting in 3rd place in the championship, so he'll be looking to get a much better result here, as he's seen the 2 guys ahead of him in the championship at the moment getting 1st and 2nd in that last race. That's not good news for him, especially when he'll be so frustrated that he just made the wrong decision in the end and threw it all away, stayed out just too long on those soft tyres, and then came in for the hards as well. Honestly, if it had just been the puncture, he could have still come home in a podium position if he'd gone on to the full wets. Looks like we're having a lobby remake. So I'm afraid there's going to be another technical difficulty, I suspect. This is to do with having set the custom grid for the first race. It acted like that was going to be the grid for this race as well. That is not what we want it to be. So we will have to sort that out once again. So apologies for that. While we sort that out, I am just going to give you guys a little bit more of the funky tunes to listen to. Hopefully, this means Jens will actually be able to join us this time. We'll have to wait and see. That's really going to be the real thriller here, is whether or not Jens can come along to the race to watch as well. I sincerely hope he can. But either way, we will be back shortly. Please stand by. Alright, welcome back everybody. So, we are getting back into the lobby once again. The lobby has been remade once more. We will have to go through a 3-lap feature race like we did last time in Monaco. This race does not mean anything. It's just to get us to the sprint race. So yeah, 3-lap trundle, as Mo says in chat. Yeah, actually, Mo, while you're in chat, quick question. Actually, you're probably getting ready to drive. But quick question, are you still a reserve driver or are you actually a current driver in the Trident team? I didn't see an announcement saying you were, but I don't see why you wouldn't be. But you're probably actually too busy driving now to answer that, so never mind. Yeah, so we'll see the drivers pootle around here in their cars. They have been set in their reverse grid pole grid order. Jens has left the session once again.
Aww.
So I'm afraid it doesn't look like whatever issues you're having have been sorted out. So that's very bad news once again. Alas. Worth a go. We've had a few opportunities to try and get you into the lobby, but it just doesn't seem to work. You have that one backup invite, so you can try one more time. There you go, you joined.
Yeah.
Have you actually joined?
It's... I don't know. Let me press spectate.
Okay.
Let's find out. It's loading. Everything. Now I should watch out not giving me the commentator's curse. Maybe I should say it's going horribly.
Yeah, there's no chance. There's no chance you'll, Mo seems to have a see-through halo. Oh, not from on board, at least. Okay. Well, interesting. Don't know if his halo was actually see-through there or not. Yeah, look, there's some issue going on with the right-hand side of his halo. That's weird.
I think I'm in.
You're in?
I think I'm in.
Ooh, okay. That's...
I'm seeing cars drive around on a track, not really doing anything.
Tudor's gone off. Tudor has spun off on this race, which isn't a real race. It's basically just a long formation lap. It doesn't matter though, because we have the custom grid already set for the sprint race, so it doesn't matter where the drivers finish in this race. They can use it as a bit of a warm-up race if they want to. But yeah, Tudor running into a bit of trouble here. So what's it like being able to actually see the cars and see Le Castellet in all its beauty and glory, as I'm sure so many people agree that this track is an absolute beauty?
Fantastic. If we should, if we see it through those glasses, then it's fantastic.
Right,
amazing.
Okay, yeah.
10 out of 10. I really love it.
Mm-hmm.
We see it through the commentator eyes and my own eyes. It is confusing.
Yes.
With all the lines and that.
No,
but it's great.
The sprint JSR, just to answer your question in chat, the sprint is not 3 laps. This is the feature race that we have to get out of the way so we can get into the sprint race. Whenever you remake the lobby, you have to run a feature race and a sprint race. You can't just set up a lobby for only having a sprint race. So this is the feature race, which has the reverse grid set, and then into the sprint race itself we will have a normal length sprint race, which should be about, what, 10, 11 laps? And then the drivers will be going fully at it. The pace of this race would not be very good if this was an actual race, saying 2-minute lap times on the opening lap of the race. So if you guys have any other questions in chat or anything you'd like us to talk about for the remainder of the time before we actually get into the sprint race, that would be not even welcomed, but greatly appreciated, as I'm slightly running short of things to talk about here. May as well run down actually the championship order from before this feature race, before the last feature race, which just happened. That feature race, the results of that will stand. All the points gained there will stand, but I don't want to have to do the mental maths at the moment to try and work out where that puts everyone. So after Monaco, the driver's standings, the top 10 of the driver's standings were as follows. First was ERZ KBL with 95 points after finishing 1st and 5th last time out in Monaco. Heiko, after not scoring in Monaco, down on 93 points in 2nd. Skatey 3rd, 69 points, so a little bit of a gap between himself and the top 2. Thompson in 4th for Kramer, 59 points for him. Mariuson close behind with 57 points. He is not able to attend today. Cameron B in 6th, he's been very consistent, still hasn't had a single race where he's failed to score a point, I believe. 54 points in the championship at the moment for him. Borderline in 7th still, but he has, I believe, retired from the league. I don't know if he'll be back or not, but at the moment we do have Tudor taking his place in the MP Motorsport team. So Borderline currently sitting in 7th position, but I expect that he will be removed from the table shortly. Mr. Jasper is in 8th, 43 points for him, and Joel in 9th with 30, alongside Ico, also with 30, but Joel with his 3rd place and the 1 podium to his name takes 9th position, while Ico in 10th. Yeah, it is a confusing situation, JSR, but just bear with it. Wait until the end of this race, and then it will be clear as we get into the sprint race that everything will all become clear and the situation will be resolved. Regarding which car is the prettiest and which is the ugliest, I'm going to jump on board with the prettiest car on the grid. No doubt about it, from my perspective, it is the Dams car. Beautiful two-tone blue car, dark blue and light blue. I just really love that car. I think it looks great. And I think actually the sponsorship as well on the side actually goes really well with the livery of the car. The Lavazza sponsorship, I think, looks really nice with the rest of the car for some reason. So that's my personal favourite on the grid. My personal least favourite might be the MP cars. They're very bright, but I don't think it really suits the car very well. They just look like a bit of a mess to me. Another car I dislike the look of a little bit is the ARTs. A little bit plain for me, just basically black and white. Not really a very inspired livery. A little bit of a Russian accent on one of the cars, but that's just because that is the car of Nikita Mazepin in real life, a Russian driver. And the Sauber Junior team car as well, definitely not the prettiest. Jens, what do you think? What do you think's the prettiest and the ugliest?
For me, I would say I'd probably say the the Dams is I like it actually. It's quite a nice car.
Yeah, I would agree. And your ugliest car?
I think maybe the Arden. I don't really like the pink and white. It kind of, when it goes quick, they kind of almost merge in together.
Okay.
That bright pink and the white.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually really like Racing Point's livery, but I agree that something is lacking about the Arden livery that just makes it not quite as good as the Racing Points or the old Force Indias as well. But I don't think it's the ugliest on the grid for my money, but it's definitely not the prettiest either, that's for sure. The Tridents have a pretty medium, uninspiring looking livery, to be honest, as we see them celebrating here on the podium, and we don't need to, so I'll skip that. Which will happen? Yeah, which will happen first? Hulkenberg on the podium or Jens being able to stay in the lobby for the whole race? That's a very good question. Honestly, I don't think either will ever happen. So I think
to be honest, with my luck, Hulkenberg will definitely get a podium. He'll get the podium in Abu Dhabi this next Sunday, definitely.
Well, as it stands, that's his last opportunity in F1 to get a podium, unless he's going to get a drive for midway through 2020 or into 2021. Hopefully we'll see more teams on the grid in 2021, but the news about the new teams has gone a little bit quiet since they were first announced. Teams like Panthera, who look like the most serious potential entry, but it's always fun to hope and speculate for new teams, and any more teams on the F1 grid would always be very much appreciated, especially so that drivers like Hulkenberg don't end up without a seat. If nothing else. You're still in the lobby at the moment, Jens?
I hope so.
You survived the transition to the sprint race?
Yep, looks like it.
Is this? Are we underway in the sprint race?
I think it's lights out.
Yeah, this is lights out, and we're going here in the sprint race. It's the two Trident boys up in the lead at the moment, but SLI already looking to try and make a move on Mo. Into turn one. Heiko's dropping down the order. Something's gone very, very wrong for him. Down in 8th at the moment. Actually, that's probably where he started. So he moved up the positions and then moved back down them again. Meanwhile, SLI and Ico. Side by side, it's actually Ico that's taking the position away in the Dams, looking to try and make a move up the inside of Mo as well. Mo holds on 2P2 for now, but Skatey is already driving away, stamping his authority on this particular race. Thompson's round in the background, and so's Heiko. Heiko, the championship leader and your previous feature race winner, has gone round. Maku is round as well. 3 cars involved in an incident at the back as Heiko and Maku make yet more contact there. Into turn 5 and through turn 6 they go now, but Heiko all the way at the back of the field. He has an absolute mountain to climb if he's going to score points here today in the sprint race. Ico, his teammate. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, looking far up the grid, we see Tudor trying to get down the inside of Joe, but not being able to find the room on the Mistral straight. Joel defending nicely to the inside there.
So many cars absolutely nose to tail here on the second half of the Mistral straight after the chicane. Skatey, 2.7 seconds. This is very reminiscent of the last race indeed. And he is really driving away with it at the moment. Expect to see that happen. I cannot see, unless he makes a mistake, I can't see a universe in which Skatey doesn't win this race. but I hope that has not commentators cursed him, although that was a pretty strong commentator's curse if there ever was one, so we'll have to wait and see about that. SLI down in 4th at the moment after starting from 3rd, but that's not bad for the Arden driver at all. He'll be hoping that he can repeat the sort of performance we saw from him in the sprint race in Monaco last time out and hold on to a good grid position in the reverse grid pole sprint race. Skatey with the fastest lap of the race, unsurprisingly, already way out in front. Mo comes across the line in 2nd position. Iko 3rd. SLI close behind him in 4th. Not close enough to make a move just yet. Tudor very close behind Joel. Will he be looking to try and go up the field? Of course he will. Will he be able to get up there into maybe even P2? Showed that he had a lot more pace than the rest of the drivers ahead of him, barring Skatey in that last race as he moves up the inside now of Joel, deep into turn 3 and into turn 4 he goes now as well, but Joel gave him the room, and it is Tudor that takes the position away and up into P5 for the MP Motorsport car. Meanwhile, back down towards the bottom end of the points, it's ERZ KBL, who's actually gone down 1 position from where he started. So once again, when ERZ KBL starts down towards the bottom in the sprint race, he doesn't seem to make that much progress straight away, although he's getting close to the back of Sevilla, but not close enough, and actually breaks early enough that Mr. Jasper thinks about a move up his inside into the chicane at the end of the first part of the Mistral straight. 2 ARTs going side by side behind as well, but it looks like Richie B is just going to take that position away from BioLite, no problem. SLI and Echo side by side. SLI showing that he has some pace here as he tries to take the position away, but now it's Tudor who takes SLI's position instead. Up into 4th goes the MP Motorsport car. Has he got the position? Yes, he has, and he's close behind Echo now as well, so that's been gifted to Tudor as SLI was forced wide in senior by his battle with Echo, and Tudor snaps up the position straight away.
Oh, and the round, it looks like in turn 12, SLI and Heiko has touched, it seems, and both were round.
Yeah, Joel in the Sauber Junior team car, it's him and SLI that have both gone round. I didn't see the contact, but I assume there was contact as both of them have had an incident, as you said. Cameron B and Mr. Jasper fighting behind the 2 Campos guys, but here's Sevilla right up the back of ERZ KBL, who all of a sudden finds himself up in 5th position after starting the previous lap in 8th. Gifted 2 positions by those cars having their issues into turn 12, and it looks like it's the Campos guys that are doing all the battling into turn 1 here as Sevilla actually gets out of it. Cameron B getting the switchback now up towards Mr. Jasper, but he actually gets out of the throttle there, a bit spooked perhaps by Mr. Jasper being a bit all over the road up ahead of him. Didn't want to run into the back of his teammate. Very sensible from Cameron B. Settles back down in 8th position for the moment. Tudor close behind Iko, who is in turn close behind Mo, but Iko actually big moment under traction here, and that's going to cost him all the way down the Mistral straight. Here comes the MP car behind him up the inside. Tudor is not going to be forced out of this one. Will he break later than the Dams? No, he will not. It's Iko that breaks later in the end. Good defending from the Croatian driver, and he actually holds on to that position with ease in the end. Tudor a bit too early on the brakes, a bit too tentative perhaps.
Now looking further down towards 8th place and the 2 Campos boys, they are still close coming into senior, but these 2, they have, even though they've been fighting, they have caught up to Sevilla again, as Jasper there gets a 3-second time penalty, but still close behind Sevilla. This almost turned into a 3-way battle, almost actually a 4-way battle if they can keep up with ERZ KBL.
You know what I've just noticed by churning on the thing that shows the tyres? Because I haven't had any reason to look at Skatey this race, because he's just been driving away at the front. I did not notice he was on soft tyres. Everyone else is on hard tyres. That's what you'd expect. You go for the harder compound in the sprint race because you don't have to make a pit stop. It's sensible. But Skatey thinks differently, and after what we saw him do on those soft tyres in the feature race, I would not be surprised if he can take these all the way to the end of this race, no problem whatsoever. So Skatey might have just played a masterstroke there. He's really gaining a lot of time at the moment, 8.3 seconds after the end of 3 laps. That is quite the margin he's able to pull on his teammate behind in the second Trident. And of course he's being helped by that, by the fact that he's on soft tyres when everyone else is on hards. So I think Skatey has probably pulled a masterstroke there, and I can't think why more drivers didn't also elect to run the soft tyres for the whole race after what they saw Skatey do in the last race. But maybe some of them just didn't see it, didn't know it had happened. Mo running a bit wide there in turn 7. Doesn't seem to have picked up a penalty for us at the very least. Heiko battling back at the moment up to 11th position. Here's his teammate though, around the outside, into turn 8. And he gets the position break later than Mo once again. He's been really solid into turn 8 all race long so far. But Mo battles back, keeps his car alongside, forces the Dams to give him room. And now Tudor is also forcing the Dams to do that very same thing. He has the outside line for Senior though, and he has a Trident in his way. He'll probably have to back out of it. Indeed he does. The Romanian driver staying in 4th position for now. But he's showing some pace here, and Mo running wide through turn 11. That's opened the door once again for Ico. And finally, we do see a driver going up the inside of turn 11, trying to make a move. It's going to be so hard to go around the outside of turn 12, though. Ico has to come back, cut back inside, try and get the switchback going. He's got better traction. Heavy braking zone coming up. Will he be able to make the move? Mo going defensive once again, and the door opens almost for Tudor, but Ico slams it shut. Tudor knew it was going to slam shut, and they're still side by side. Mo all over the curbing on the inside. That would have compromised his run, surely. Onto the straight here, it's Ico who has DRS. Tudor as well. He had the cleanest run through the final corner of all of them. Will we see 3 wide going into the first corner here? Look at the overspeed for the MP car. No, he backs out of it. Sensible driving, if a bit overly sensible perhaps from Tudor, as Ico actually goes very deep, gets the move on Mo, and Tudor now, finally, surely this is his opportunity. No, still not quite side by side with Mo, but he can brake later here into turn 3 over the curbing, and no, once again Mo holds on to it. Tudor looks like he could have made this move at least 3 times since we've been on board with him, and he just hasn't done it.
These 3 guys at the top now have to watch out. Look behind. The 4-way train behind them is catching up to them with all their battling.
ZKBL in the second MP Motorsport car will be rubbing his hands. He's close behind his teammate as they're weaving all the way down the Mistral straight here, trying to break the toe is Ico. Mo going for a dive bomb on the Dams driver. He wasn't really close enough to think about that, but it forced the Dams driver to give him space on the inside. Someone's gone around. Yellow flag in sector 2. It's Richie B in the ART. He's had a problem, but I'm going to stick on board with the RZKBL because he's got a great view of Tudor and Mo going almost side by side into turn 10. It's almost flat out here, but not quite. And Mo holds on to the position once again. Tudor just seems to be playing it extra safe. But if anyone's going to try and close down Skatey after he's going to lose pace towards the end of the race. We know that. We saw it happen in the last race. But it didn't happen that much. And with a 12-second lead, I think he's probably going to be all right. If Tudor wanted to try and close him down towards the end of this race, he had to try and get past Mo and Ico sooner than he has done. Around the outside of turn 14, not somewhere that he's going to have any joy, but a dive bomb. No, it's a half-hearted dive bomb, and he pulls out of it. You can tell he was just worried about making contact with the car ahead. It's good that he's not being reckless, but going for the dive bomb in the first place meant that he had a compromised run through the final corner, and now down onto the straight. Here comes the RZKBL. He almost bumps into the back of his teammate. Very deep on the brakes there is the German driver, and he settles back down in 5th position. Mr. Jasper's so close. They're all so close. It's a DRS train behind Ico right now. No gaps between most of the drivers here, and there's bumping going on. Mr. Jasper into the back of the RZKBL. No damage there, though, for the Campos, I don't believe.
Now coming out onto the Mistral straight. This will probably turn into one of those infamous DRS trains, but at the front, Mo won't have any Ico won't have any DRS, but he is a bit too far in front for Mo to catch, so the other guys behind will probably be fighting it out to the far, not close enough. But Heiko further down on SLI, trying to make that move for 9th place, get the move done before the braking zone.
Comfortable move there for the Dutchman as he moves himself back up into 9th position. 1 position away from the points in the sprint race here, and in the top 8 score points in this sprint race. So will Heiko be able to close down Cameron B before the end of the race? With all the battling that's going on up ahead, I wouldn't bet against it, as Mo and Tudor once again almost side by side through turn 11. And Mr. Jasper, no, has he lost it? He holds on just about in the Campos. Wow. Really, really good stuff from Mr. Jasper to hold on to it. Bit eager on the throttle in the first place to lose the car so significantly. And it looks like Tudor and Mo are side by side once again. This time, it's Mo with the outside line into turn 14. Tudor caught him unawares. Will Mo dive it back up the inside of turn 15? Of course he will. And Tudor backs out of it. And he's lost the position to KBL as well. He must have had a nightmare final corner in the MP car as his teammate goes up his inside. Now he has KBL. Will it be 2 corners? 2 positions for the German driver. Up, looking to try and get onto the podium. No, Mo once again. He's been supreme on the brakes today. But the switchback from ELZKBL up towards turn 3. He'll have the inside line now. Can Mo hold it on around the outside like he's done so many times in this race already? No, yes he can, he does! He does indeed. ELZKBL ghosting there, and actually now it's Mr. Jasper up his inside all of a sudden. Where's Tudor gone? He's lost the position to the Campos, and Mr. Jasper all the way around the outside. Can he take 2 MP Motorsport cars in one sector? Doesn't look like it as he runs wide, and Tudor looks like he's going to be able to get the position back away from him. This time around, no, he runs wide on the exit of turn 7, and oh no! Into the wall goes Mr. Jasper, spearing off into the wall. That's his race over. You can see the wreckage of the Campos on the left-hand side of the Mistral straight there, and Icko's left the session from 2nd place.
Wow, that was one hell of a fight there. Mr. Jasper just losing it there behind. Must have been hit with some dirty air of some sort and just not being able to put his foot down. But meanwhile, Sevilla trying to get down the inside of Cameron B up through Senior, that right-hander there, not being able to do so.
Sevilla very close behind Cameron B. Tudor very close behind ELZKBL. Almost side by side between these two guys once again. They're teammates and they don't want to hit each other. But will that go out of the window as they get towards the end of the race? Icko's car driving around pretty well at the moment. If he can regain his spot in the race, he should be okay. The AI car driving pretty quickly out there for the damage driver at the moment. But he needs to get back in sooner rather than later because he's going to lose that position before long to Mo behind. ELZKBL not close enough to Mo to think about making a move this time around. And actually the gap seemed to have opened up a little bit. And Heiko now, thanks to Mr. Jasper's DNF after he got too eager on the throttle on the exit of turn 7, is in a point scoring position. And more than that, he's within DRS range of Sevilla 98N up ahead. So Heiko, after I said he was going to have a struggle to score points in this race, doesn't seem like it's going to be the case after all here. It looks like he's actually going to be pretty comfortably scoring points in this race. Joel at the back of the field picking up a 3-second time penalty. Icko's ghost car is now losing positions hand over fist. So if Icko can rejoin the session, he's going to have a nasty surprise when he finds himself back down towards the bottom end of the points.
Yes, very unfortunate for him, having driven a well race at the top. And now looking at Heiko coming through, trying to overtake Sevilla there, coming up to his ghosted teammate, not being able to get him round the outside into the chicane of the Mistral Straight. But now with the slipstream on the other side, going side by side on the exit, trying to get the move done, making it quite easily before coming down to Senior. And actually Tudor further ahead, real close to his teammate of ELZKBL, trying to dive it down the inside of that's the double right-hander. Almost makes the move done, still going side by side. Oh, when they touch, ELZKBL gone round.
He's gone round,
Just
but he's
getting
not too bad. It's 6th position for him at the moment. He's not lost as many positions as he could have done there. He held on to it relatively well, still in the points at the moment. And with his championship rival back up ahead of him again, no matter what happens, you can't keep these guys away from each other, Heiko and ELZKBL. There's always one following the other. This time it's the German behind the Dutchman up ahead, the MP behind the Dams. But Heiko looking to press on here. He's had a lot of pace since the opening lap when it all went wrong for him. But now that it's all gone wrong for his championship rival, he's back in the game once again, up in 5th position. And to be honest, in with a shout of a podium at the very least. Only a couple of laps left to go now, 3 or 2.5 laps left to go. Skatey bringing down the amount of laps left to go by a considerable way as he's 14 seconds ahead of his teammate in the lead at the moment. What a drive it has been so far from Skatey, even considering the fact that he's on the soft tyres. SLI, after his incident, he was having a good race to start with, but we saw him going round in an incident with Joel. Back up into 8th position now, though, as he takes the position away from Icko's ghosted car. But the two MP cars going into each other, it almost seemed inevitable in the end, really. They'd been side by side so often, battling with each other constantly, so close to each other on track. And, you know, I said they didn't want to hit each other, and I said it might all go out of the window towards the end of the race, and that it did. Tudor getting the upper hand, though, on his teammate, and it is Tudor who is sitting in 3rd position and once again on the bottom step of the podium at the moment, but he wants to improve. He's already tasted 3rd position. He wants to taste silver instead, and Mo is the man trying to stop the Romanian from doing just that. It has been a great drive from Mo so far in this race, defending his position admirably throughout the race to hold on to a P2 against some drivers behind him who clearly have more pace than him around here, but Mo's racecraft has been supreme.
Yes, Mo's been defending real well this race, and that's a thing that Heiko really haven't had to do in the most this race, as he's all the way up at Cameron B currently, all the way up in his gearbox, all trying to make the move through that final corner, but into turn 1, not close enough, as Tudor there gets a 3-second time penalty. That is not what he wants in that third place.
Not what he wants at all. And I'm not sure how many of the other drivers have 3-second time penalties as well. But if Cameron B behind at least doesn't have a 3-second time penalty, he could suddenly be looking at a podium here, which is not something I'm sure he would have thought going into this race. But he has been performing well so far in this race, and drivers around him have been falling off the road, and he has not done so. We saw his teammate at this very point in the track spearing off into the wall. Cameron B has not had that issue though. Here is Tudor now, close behind Mo, gaining all the way down the Mistral straight into turn 8. Who will it be ahead? It's Mo once again, keeping his nose ahead for now. Can he keep alongside? Force the MP driver to give him some space through turn 9. Yes, he can, and oh no, there's contact. And Tudor's into the wall. He's lost some of his front wing, but actually, he's not lost too much. He's not lost a wheel, which could have been a lot worse there for the Romanian driver. But Heiko gaining on him. Hand over fist now, as Tudor's had to run so much slower through the second half of the Mistral straight, but he holds on to it into turns 10 and into turn 11 as well. Tudor hanging on for now. Has he got damage on his front wing, or can he hold on to this podium position? Of course, he has the penalty as well, so that's something to consider. But Heiko has taken Cameron B as well, of course. So Heiko is now the one sitting in the pound seat for that P3 and the bottom step of the podium.
Yes, and now EOS at KBL with Heiko taking the position from Cameron B. This will be a crucial move he'll have to make if he doesn't want to lose any more ground than he already has in the championship, as he's right behind with the DRS, something that Cameron B, unfortunately for him, also has. So into turn 1, it probably won't be a move, but EOS at KBL is still real close to Cameron B. And further down we see battling for 8th place, that final point spot in the sprint race. Esla and Thompson just battling it out.
Meanwhile, Heiko thinking about making a move on Tudor into turn 3. Didn't do so in the end, but the battling is frenetic up and down the field. Everywhere in the points pretty much there's a battle going on. Sevilla is really close behind EOZ KBL as well. Bit of a compromised run through turn 7 though, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to make a move on this lap. But here's Heiko. You can see the overspeed reeling in the MP car up ahead. And it looks like Heiko is going to take the position away. And he does. Up into third he goes. He was in de facto third, of course, because of the penalty situation. But nevertheless, that's good news for him, as the ERZ KBL has moved past Cameron B as well. Heiko makes a move, and so does ERZ KBL. As soon as he sees his championship rival making a move, he does the exact same, but Tudor's fighting it back through Senior. Can't make the move stick this time though. Heiko holding on to the position, and Tudor, despite his penalty, knows that the other drivers can pick up penalties at the drop of the hat so quickly, and no matter what happens, anyone else can always pick up penalties as well, so it's worth battling for every single position here. With only half a lap left to go now, here comes Skatey up towards the line. What a drive from the Dutchman. I've hardly seen him all race, but 13.4 seconds between himself and his teammate in second made the soft tyre strategy in the sprint race work. What a drive from the Trident driver, and it is a Trident 1-2 as Mo comes across the line. Heiko in third, Tudor comes across the line fourth, but drops down now to 6th position. ERZ KBL only 1 point between him and Heiko in the end. He'll be pretty satisfied with that, all things considered. Cameron B in 5th, another solid performance for him, and Thompson in the points once again. He's been in the points so often lately. And SLI does claim that final point scoring position because of 6 seconds of time penalties in the end. For Sevilla 98M, I believe, drops him out of the points. So, what a race this has been once again. So much battling going on. And Heiko will be ecstatic with that he won't have been ecstatic at the end of the first lap, after he had that incident and was down right at the back of the field. But what a comeback drive from him. And also, what a drive. All the guys on the podium, great drives from them for different reasons. Skatey had the pace over everyone so much quicker on those soft tyres, made them last beautifully as well. Mo, excellent defending, consistently defending his second position throughout the race, holding on to it so well, really braking really late when he needed to as well. And yeah, Heiko, I mean, I don't think you guys need to tell me why need me to tell you rather, why Heiko's performance was so good. Here they are then, onto the podium. The two Trident boys. I said to ignore it in the at the end of the feature, the 3-lap fake feature race we had when the two Tridents were on the top steps of the podium. But here they are actually on the top steps of the podium with the Dams driver of Heiko in third. And the championship standings will look pretty interesting after this. Heiko will have retaken the lead in the championship. This win for Skatey will have mitigated the damage that was caused by his only getting 8th in the feature race itself, but a couple of really great races once again. It's always great watching the battling here in the F2 Sprint League. So then, Jens, just any final comments from you on that race in particular?
Yeah, just what a race. That top 6, even just fighting it all out all through the race, even after getting a time penalty, just trying as hard as possible to keep your position. It's great to see the guys. Also further down the field, even though we didn't see much to it, just some great fighting as well with SLI and Thompson and Sevilla as well in that fight at one point.
Absolutely. Looks like we have a couple of drivers ready for interview this week, so we will have a couple of interviews for you guys. I'll bring them into the commentary box if I can work out how to do it. Here we go. One, and here I'll just bring in the second one as well. Hello guys, congratulations on your performances. Great races. We will start, I think we'll start with our new, our resurgent championship leader Heiko. First of all, the beginning of the sprint race. Let's start there. Slightly old place to start, but we'll start there anyway. What exactly happened to you on the opening lap?
That's something I need to remember. Let me think. What happened there? I was third, and then then I got actually dropped, didn't I?
Yeah, you went all the way back down to the you went all the way back down to the very bottom of the field. It looked like you had an instant taps with Thompson.
Ah, right, sprint race. No, yeah, I was dive bombed by one car. I don't know. He came up to me in the inside, and I had nowhere to go because I was kind of sandwiched. And yeah, from there I had to get back through the complete field. Made a mistake myself in the third sector of lap. I believe it was 5 or 6, which dropped me back 2 places again. And yeah, then I had to fight my way back up again, passing the same people for half of them. And then yeah, in the end I got P3, which I'm pretty pleased with.
So yeah, which in your opinion was the more pleasing drive for you? The win in the feature race or the excellent fight back in the sprint race?
The sprint race for sure. I mean, it's good for the points to get the win in the feature race, but I didn't get the win on the circuit, so I'm not too happy about that. I mean, he actually beat me. Yeah, he went wide a few more times than I did, but in the end he actually passed the finish line first. I get the points, but that's about the satisfaction that I get from it. I am personally not happy with the result.
Not happy with the result? Okay, well, that's very interesting to hear. Really shooting for the stars there. I mean, I thought, you know, you had a pretty good feature race in general, though. Even if it hadn't been the penalty for RZKBL, you would have still been in second position in that race. Not a bad result, surely.
Yeah, for sure. Second is always nice to finish, but yeah, like I said, I rather had beat him on the track than by penalty point, penalty seconds.
Very, very understandable indeed. But congratulations on 2 podiums and 1 win.
Thank you very much.
You feeling confident for the next race? Ready to move on and try and take it to ERZ-KBL once again?
Oh, well, I have to admit that he is actually a tiny bit faster than me. And especially on this track, I would have thought that he was definitely quicker than me. But yeah, let's see, you know. F2 cars are a bit different than from F1 cars, so it's always a matter of who makes the fewest mistakes. So there's where my chances are. In pace, I am not the quickest.
Okay, very interesting stuff indeed. All right, let's move on then. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Tudor, the new boy in the league. First of all, welcome to the league. And how did you find your first weekend in the F2 Sprint League?
Well, thank you. I found it very good. I mean, I would have thought that I was going to be slow. I didn't. I wasn't used to the F2 cars. But in the end, after some time trial and a practice session, I managed to get on the pace.
Yeah, I would say so. Very well indeed. So, starting at the very beginning, what exactly happened to you in the qualifying session? You DNF'd from the qualifying session, I do believe. Did you
Yes.
crash or?
Nope. I just went wide in turn 2. That was
Okay.
it.
Invalidated the lap then, I see. So that set the stage for an excellent fight up the field in the race itself. Could you believe your eyes when you were passing cars left and right? After the opening lap, you're up 7 positions or something like that.
Yes, there was a massive incident in the last turn, which gained me like 5 places. So I was shocked when I saw that. And then from then on, I just pushed. I passed Eco, I think, for P5. And then the rain came. I took the gamble to pit a lap earlier than most guys, because I knew that the Yarzagi, my teammate, was going to pit the next lap when it was definitely wet. So I didn't want to stack up. So I just pit a lap early and it paid off, or I think it did. Like, I mean, Skatey chose the wrong tire, and I easily passed him.
Yeah, no, it's a shame to see Skater going onto the hard tyres after such a good opening stint to the race, but it worked out pretty well for the rest of the field who were able to get past him. So yeah, great stuff in the feature race itself. If you'd qualified towards the front of the grid, do you think you would have had the pace to win that race?
Well, I definitely think I would have been in the fight, so maybe.
Okay, all right. And then on to the sprint race itself. We had a couple of guys in chat rooting for you, saying that you were going to win the sprint race, at least until they realised Skatey was going to be on reverse grid pole. But nevertheless, pretty up and down race. Had an incident with your teammate. How did it play out for you?
Well, I did take the outside line, so I think he just understeered into me, and I just took the normal line, the outside line. So I'm sorry for the incident. I didn't mean it, but it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. From what I saw, it didn't look like it was really your fault. So, yeah, as you said, these sorts of things do happen. Pretty frantic battling. And in the opening few laps, I noticed you were being pretty cautious, actually. A couple of times where you could have maybe stuck your nose up the inside of someone else and you decided not to. Were you consciously thinking about running the long game, or was it just more of a subconscious sort of thing?
Yeah, I was thinking of the long game. Like, I knew there was level ups, so I had time to pass the guys, but Mo was just too fast on the straights because I couldn't overtake him. Eco barely overtook him, but then something happened to Ricard. So yeah, because I think if I would have passed Mo, I would have been in contention for P1 with Skatey. But yeah.
Wow, okay, that's some confidence considering Skatey won the race by 13.5 seconds. But yeah, that's good to see, good to see. So, out of 10, how would you rate your very first weekend in the AOR F2 Sprint League?
8 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. A couple of really good point scoring positions, very solid, moving yourself up into the championship already. And so, we'll have to see whether you will be able to fight with the likes of Heiko, ERZ, KBL and Skatey for the championship title towards the end of the season. We will have to wait and see. But thank you guys very much for coming along to be interviewed today. I'm very glad to have been able to interview you. And thank you, Jens, for coming along to commentate as well. Eventually, we actually managed to get you to see an actual race, which is pretty unusual, so that's good news as well. And thank you to everyone watching who came along and bore with us through the various technical difficulties we had. The three lobby remakes, 2 lobby remakes. It was a lot of lobby remakes, more than you want to see. So thank you very much, guys, for watching and sticking around. I have been Jacob Hancox. Jens has been alongside me in the commentary box. And this has been the AOR Hype Energy F2 Sprint League round 5, I should say, the French Grand Prix, and it has been a couple of cracking races once again. Thank you and goodbye.